Address the circle string activity. All right, we're looking at the spreadsheet now. I made a few more columns. If you look at the number of strings, which is column F, okay, pretty much everyone got about 6 strings. This isn't a coincidence. All right, if this was done a little bit more accurately, you would have got about 6¼ strings, or everyone would have got about 6¼ strings, or the average would have been about that many. All right, the radiuses, or I should say the radii, all differ. When you take the radius and you multiply it by the number of strings, you end up getting this value in column H here. Now, if you compare that value to the actual circumference, okay, they're very close to each other. Like I said before, the average number of strings we got as a class was 6.03. If we did this a little bit more accurately, you would have got about 6.28. All right. This here is your 2 pi, and this is where that comes from. We're going to discuss what this means. That 2 pi means 2 pi radians, and 1 radian is the angle that is swept out when the radius is superimposed on the perimeter of the circle. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a few animated GIFs that kind of explain this. I think a little bit better than that statement. So we'll go through those. I'll link them in the document. Please, you can watch them at your leisure as many times as you want. They're so entertaining. So go.
In this animation above, you will see that as a radius goes from A to B, or superimposed like the string on the circle, the angle that is swept out is considered 1 radian. Now, if you keep repeating that throughout the circle, you end up getting 6.28 or 2 pi radians per circle. So that as this resets itself, you'll see initially the radius is superimposed between A and B, and that angle is 1 radian. Now, if you keep superimposing the radius around the outside, you end up getting 6.28. And this is just a visual of what your picture should have looked like. Take a minute, you can read the bottom here, and this just reinforces that idea for us. This is just another animation that shows pretty much the same thing. You'll see in a second when the animation resets itself. Right now, you have your radius, you have your circumference in blue. The radius is then moved along the perimeter of the circle, and that angle in green is considered 1 radian. As it moves across and you keep superimposing the radius, you can see where you get pi radians from. You complete the circle, you'll get 2 pi radians. So these are just some illustrations of what a radian actually is and what it means.